If you're interested in taking these ideas as far as possible, presenting the most aesthetic version of yourself, I'm launching a coaching program where I work with individuals one-on-one. I'll evaluate your whole presentation, lock in on a sort of archetype that makes sense for you, and help you get to the 10 out of 10 version of yourself presentationally. I have found that maximizing your looks has an enormous return on your life. And so if this is an area of your life that you're ready to take seriously, check out the link in the description below. A common hurdle that people have to jump over is whenever they are traveling, they start to go off of their diet. A quote that I've read in The Razor's Edge was, "It is easy to be a holy man on the top of a mountain." This book is about a character who decides to be a monk, and he goes up to the mountains, learns all these things about how to be a monk. He needs to go back to normal civilization and implement what he's learned up there in the mountains to actual real life, because that's where it matters. When you're getting lean, the best and most effective thing that you can do is eat at home. And if you are somebody like me, and if you're doing it very smart, you are setting up your environment for success. And what I mean by setting up your environment for success is that you pretty much have to protect yourself from yourself. All the chips, the cookies, all the temptations are outside of your house. If you feel like going off your diet, you literally have to go into your car, start your car, drive to the store, pick up milk, cereal box, go to the checkout counter, check it out. There are many barriers to entry when it comes to going off of your diet, and it gives yourself some time to really think. Like, when you jump in that car, you're like, all right, am I really about to do this? Because I could do something else. And then, like, when you go into the store, you pick up that box of cereal, you pick up that milk. Do I really need to do this? Go up to the checkout counter, you're about to pay money for it. It's like another just test, another question of whether or not you're really about to do all this. You put a lot of work in between you and that cheat meal or you having a cheat day. I've even heard of like some people like actually locking their cabinets with a combination lock just so that they kind of have that barrier and that time to like really think about what they're doing. When it comes to staying lean while you're traveling, one of my top tips is to book an Airbnb with like an oven and a microwave. A lot of times they'll have fridges. You might get lucky and get an air fryer, but this gives you control over what you eat and it helps you stick to your goals. Also bring staple travel snacks like protein bars. Don't get them from the airport. They're gonna be like taxing at the airport when it comes to protein bars. What I always recommend is just stopping by like the 7-Eleven or gas station and just kind of stocking up on protein bars. If you are still like traveling like within America, what you can do, I mean, Chipotle is always a pretty good option. You can get like half rice, get a protein option, beans, stay away from the sour cream and the cheese, and then get the lettuce. And then what I would recommend is that you literally go to the grocery store and pick up grocery items. When you're traveling and you're going to fast food restaurants, they are literally like the last thing that you should like be thinking about. That should be like, you're all out of options. With that, I recommend staying busy. When you're traveling, like stay busy. I typically don't like to travel just for vacation purposes. I like to just travel and to just get busy. I like to do work when I travel to these different places, and I hate when I don't have anything to do at all. But for the most part, when you are busy, I would say to eat light. So like protein bars and protein shakes. And then at the end of the day, then you cook your food back at your Airbnb and make it a pretty heavy meal. If you guys want me to, I can make like a fast food series on like what items to get where. But if you are going to go to a fast food place, the Chipotle option is a pretty good option. And then what you can do is have like non-fat Greek yogurt, which tastes just like sour cream, and then fat-free shredded cheese to replace that sour cream option and that cheese option. When it does come to eating out at restaurants, when you're out and about, you're gonna feel hungrier than usual. My strategy is to eat very light during the day, preferably higher protein options, and then at the end of the day, eat those heavier meals when you go back home. Now, let's just say you do get caught up and you gotta go to a restaurant. What do you do when you eat out? Avoid the bottomless bread and the bottomless chips that come to the table, and avoid appetizers. Appetizers can be
just as many calories as the main course, and it's like it's not even the main course, it's not even that much food. The one good appetizer I would say to get, if they have it, is like soup at like Japanese restaurants or any kind of soup. The broth is usually pretty good. And drink plenty of water. 0-calorie drinks like diet sodas. Steer clear away from like liquid calories. They can definitely sneak up on you. Also, when it comes to restaurants, follow the 1500 or the 1800 calorie rule. A lot of times these restaurants will not have the calories posted on their like menus. What you can do is you can do the 1500 calorie rule or the 1800 calorie rule. You're going out and you're like, how much is this? Just go with either 1500 or with 1800 calories and just plug it into the MyFitnessPal and pretty much just like adjust whatever you chose. Like say, if I go out and eat, all right, let's just say I go out and eat like a burger and fries. This burger and fries, automatically I'm probably thinking about like 1500 calories. From experience, I can tell how much they gave me like for fries in terms of portion, how big the burger was, whether that's like a 1500 calorie burger meal or an 1800 calorie burger meal. You can pretty much do this with anything, even like with sandwiches, quesadillas, pastas. Another thing that I like to do is get a main course. Like if you got like a pasta plate, ask for a to-go box and then split half of that meal and put it in a to-go box and just eat it for tomorrow. If you are saying, okay, well, this is about 1500 calories, split it up in half, put it in the to-go box, and now you're just eating that 750 calories. Now, to not get in any social trouble, like people asking what you're doing, just ask for the to-go box, like at the end, just eat half of the meal and just sit there and talk and just wait till everybody else is finished, ask for a to-go box, and then put that other half in a to-go box. And I understand, man, life happens and you still want to have fun and hang out with your friends. And that is where the real test begins. I was talking to a friend, and this happens especially when you get a girlfriend. We were talking about the other day, it's almost like your girlfriend will make you feel bad for trying to like, basically just trying to make your life better. Especially, it's really when you have those girlfriends that isn't really like into the dieting thing. And this typically happens whenever you go out to a restaurant, say like you get something small or you barely get anything, or you just don't get anything at all. She'll say something like, oh, well, now you're making me feel fat. And then she'll be like, look, try some of this, try some of that. Or if you guys are thinking about what to eat, she's like, what should we eat? And you're like, I'm just gonna eat at home. And then she just like, all right, well, I don't wanna eat anything. You gotta kinda have a conversation. And hey, depending on what kind of girl you got, a lot of girls be mad when you show them the mirror and be like, look, this is what you're doing. She'll probably get mad, but hey, King, you gotta do what you gotta do in order to make yourself better. A lot of times with girls, man, if you like show them like, hey, this is what I'm doing for me, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just trying to make myself a better person. It's like she tries to guilt trip you into eating with her, and then she just like, well, what happens like when I go out to like with my friends? Are you not gonna eat anything then? Or what if it's my birthday? You're not gonna eat anything? And she tries to guilt trip you. And it's not necessarily her fault. It's just that we as humans are programmed to always fucking eat. Like just always eat. It's a social thing. When you're not hungry, people bring food to like parties and stuff. If you don't eat dinner with people, it's like they feel like you're rejecting them. But it's just one of those things when you sort of detach yourself and just think about how people operate. We're programmed to be social with food. We have to realize that like when we say no, it can hurt other people's feelings, but it's not necessarily your fault. Like it just feels like when they're just like, oh no, I don't want to eat anything, they get hurt. And they're just conditioned and programmed to feel that way because bringing food to somebody's house, bringing food as a gift is such a social thing. But you have to recognize like, okay, this is like getting in the way of my plans. And if you tell this person like, hey, I can't eat candy, and then they keep on bringing you candy as a gift because you told them that like Swedish Fish was your favorite candy or Sour Patch Kids was your favorite candy, and they think it's cute to bring you Sour Patch Kids as a gift, you really got to talk to that person and just say, look, this isn't a good gift. Like, you can give me a gift, but just don't make it food. That you have to talk like that, but it's just that you have to talk like that. And when I say weird, I don't mean like they're being weird, you're being weird. It's just a weird situation. It's an awkward situation just because they may take it as rejection. Now let's talk about exercise and cardio. When it comes to exercise and cardio, typically, you guys know, I just like to walk. That's like my main form of cardio. I'm very compliant with it. I don't feel like I'm about to go to war when I'm running, but it is definitely something to help burn off the calories, pass the time, catch up on some videos. It's a very good thing, and any beginner, anybody, just pretty much anybody can do it. With that being said, don't skip out on the cardio because it really does help out with your caloric deficit. Even if you're weightlifting, keeping up with your cardio is crucial for staying lean and staying healthy. Schedule dedicated walking days or do some running or high intensity interval training sprints. With walking days, typically you want to kind of start off with doing 3 walking days a week. Start off with 15 minutes and then see how your body responds week by week, and then slowly increase the minutes up. Probably the most I would do is an hour. Now I get asked a lot, Floyd, I commute to my job, I walk everywhere, I walk to the grocery store, you live in a city, right? Do I have to still go to the gym and go on the treadmill? Yes, you do. Because your metabolism adapts to your daily routine. You have to take that into account when you are trying to be in a caloric deficit. Your metabolism is already adapted to your daily routine of you commuting to work, of you walking to the grocery store. That is your environment. Now it's totally different. Like me, I have to drive everywhere. Now, if I go to somewhere like New York City where I have to walk everywhere, it's going to add to my caloric expenditure because my body isn't used to walking this much. I drive everywhere. In New York City, I gotta take the metro, I gotta walk here, gotta walk there. It does count for me. But for somebody who is always walking or has to walk somewhere daily, your body is adapted to that. And the body is an adaptation machine. Whatever you do to it, it's going to adapt to it, giving a certain amount of time. You have to mix it up in order to burn those extra calories. Now, when it comes to HIIT training and sprints, I used to do this, but I did notice that it was a little bit taxing. If you are going to incorporate that, I would say to only do it 1 to 2 times a week max, like twice a week max. And that's just to keep up with your athleticism. This is something that like you run sprints, 30 seconds max. I used to do, it was 12 incline, speed of like 9 or 10, and do that for 30 seconds for up to 10 rounds. Now, if you've done that, like it's pretty fucking taxing. And it's one of those things where like it's a mental battle and you got to pretty much fight yourself to do it. That's why I don't no longer do it anymore. But I did see a big boost in my athleticism. But when it does come to HIIT training, you can't do it that many times a week. You still have to walk. But if you are somebody who wants to still be athletic, still wants to be fast, then I would incorporate HIIT training. Just don't make it every cardio day. Next thing I want to talk about is tracking and your mindset. Download MyFitnessPal or any sort of food tracking app that you have and track everything that you eat and drink. Do not forget about those liquid calories. If you're somebody who drinks a lot of your calories, look on the back of the bottle. Make sure it says 0 calories. If it's something like 25 calories or below, don't bother tracking it. It is something that you do have to watch out for, because even say like you're having a cheat day and you're going over and you're just like, I know I'm going over, I'm not even gonna track. Seeing those numbers can almost be a wake-up call, and it can create an emotional response to you, like kind of like I feel like a fat ass, and it will help keep you on track. Supposed to be eating like 1,800 calories and you're at like 2,900 calories, you're like, I should probably chill out. It does give you that accountability that you need. An example that I like that somebody once told me is that it's kind of like when you go for a run. If you run a mile away from home, you got to run that mile back. So that's 2 miles. Whenever you go over, you got to think like, if you're going over a lot, that's a lot to backtrack. If you go over a little bit, it's fine. It'll probably come off within a couple of days. If you go over a lot, it might take you like a few weeks to come back. Definitely keep that in mind. Keep tracking everything. And when I mean everything, you gotta track everything to a T, even if that means that you gotta bring your food scale to these restaurants just to make sure like they're giving you the exact amount. Even like for me, like if I go out for like frozen yogurt, I will like take my scale and I would just keep on tearing it out, putting stuff on there. What you measure gets managed. When you can actually look and see the numbers, you can have a better idea and you can act accordingly. Your brain will trick you and make you think that you are on track. This is why you need actual numbers. When you are traveling to these places, you need to bring your weight scale to measure your weight, your body weight every day, and you'll need to carry your food scale and measure that. Measure every single food. Track every day, like track your food every day, make it a habit and be accountable. Intermittent fasting is something that I practice. I typically practice it every day. If I am hungrier on some days, I do sort of break that fast a little early. I always start to eat my meals at 12 p.m. Now, the busier I am, the later I'll eat. I really just gauge it day by day. There has been times where I haven't eaten since 6, 7, 8 p.m. or there's been times when I haven't eaten since 3. There are times where I've eaten as early as 9 or 10. I try to eat around 12 p.m. Now you might be asking, well, what's the point of that? I'm not following it religiously. Some people think that intermittent fasting is sort of like a diet, like it's something that you have to follow. Intermittent fasting is just a tool in a toolbox. Everything that I just told you, splitting those meals in half, eating light in the beginning of the day, staying busy, the 1500 calorie rule, all these things are tools in your toolbox and you got to know when to use it. Now, intermittent fasting is just gauge when to use it. Feel hungrier than usual, then eat a little bit earlier. If you're gonna be busy and you're somebody like me who doesn't get that hungry when they're busy, then push it a little bit further. Now, this helps me control my hunger and manage my caloric intake. The last thing I wanna talk about is stretching and recovery. Being flexible prevents injuries and it complements your strength training. I've incorporated yoga into my routine. I've used this app called Fit On. It helped me out with like a lower back injury that I had. It helped me come back in like 2 weeks. I could not hinge at the hips. It was terrible. It's happened to me twice, but I've done yoga and it's helped me recover. And it's helped improve my flexibility. It's helped with like little aches and pains here and there. You notice the older that you get, the more you need to stretch and warm up. When I was younger, I never used to stretch or warm up. The only times I used to like stretch and warm up was when I was playing sports and pretty much like coaches during practice, like you had to do to warm up, the arm circles and stuff. But as I got older, sort of let that go. And I had to learn the hard way that stretching and warming up is a crucial part of your workout regimen. We don't want to be stiff and strong. We want to be flexible and strong. So that's all my tips for staying lean year round. Remember, consistency is key. And let me know in the comments down below if you have any tips, anything else that you'd like to see. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon for more content, and stay fit, stay shredded, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.